Hi there. In this video, I am going to use simulations to show you who will win a target reaching competition between a liberal and a conservative. Before that, we need to answer the most important existential question. Where is life's global maximum? But first, what's global maximum? And also, why global maximum? Let's assume we have an ambitious agent who wants to reach its target. The target is always located on the highest point on the ground. Our agent can't climb any height, but there is a problem. Our agent can only see its immediate surroundings. Elsewhere is dark, and our agent doesn't know in which direction the highest point is located. What should it do to reach the target? One way is to follow this wise man's advice, who said, big journeys begin with small steps. And also this wise man's advice, who said, instead of crying, always keep trying. Well, they didn't specify what and how to try. We will simply assume they meant trying whatever, only persistence matters. Let's put that advice into a computer algorithm and see what happens. Okay, this doesn't seem to be working. If you follow this wise man's advice, you are guaranteed to cry. Can we find a better way? I think Einstein can help. He said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So according to Einstein's advice, we should always assess our moves and act accordingly. Let's add Einstein's advice to our algorithm. So after each step, you should assess your new state and compare it with the previous one. So in our example, the agents compare the ground height in the new state with the ground height in the previous state. If the new state is better, I mean the ground was higher, then the agents should keep going in the same direction. If the new state is worse, I mean the ground level was lower, then stop doing the same thing again and again as Einstein advised. Instead, try a new direction and take a new random step. Let's give these instructions to our virtual agent and see what happens. As you can see, our agent always assesses its path and takes the direction that leads to better results. I mean higher ground levels. As you can see, it again assesses the path and changes its direction whenever it finds out that its current direction is no longer good. And this works. The main difference between algorithm 1 and algorithm 2 is that algorithm 2 has an assessment stage where it always assesses and compares it to the new state. And then it takes the next step accordingly. And that's it, easy peasy. Let's try again just to be sure it works. And again, it works. It works like magic. Thanks, Einstein. Okay, let's try one more example before calling this a case closed. Come on, man. Okay, I think it's stuck over there. This is just a bad luck. Let's try again. Oh, not again. Okay, Einstein, where are you now? Okay, this time he's moving toward the big hill. Oh, damn it. It seems that our agent keeps being stuck on the small hill forever. So what's going wrong here? A closer look reveals that whenever our agent reaches the top of the hill, Our current assessment method doesn't help anymore because no matter where our agent steps, its current place is always better than its immediate surroundings. This means that our agent reaches the conclusion that it has reached the highest point. Of course, if it can see further, it will change its mind. This situation is well known in the field of optimization, and it's called stuck at a local maxima. Machine learning experts use this term on a daily basis when they face issues while trying to solve complex nonlinear equations. And honestly, when I learned about the local maxima, it was the most mind-blowing concept I learned in my life. And I am not exaggerating. Not every day passes without facing a real-life situation that's very relatable to this problem. Understanding this concept not only answers the question we posed in this video, but also explains why liberal and conservative factions do exist in the first place. It's almost like the theory of everything in life. In this video, I'll try my best to explain the extended effects of this interesting concept in simple terms. And by the way, I am Huner. I have a PhD in cognitive neuroscience. I spent years trying to understand how human brain works. And what I learned is that our brain uses Hebbian principle to learn. According to this principle, neurons that fire together wire together. And this helps our brain to establish a causal relationship between related events. For example, when you press the first button here, this light bulb turns on. Your brain forms a connection between this button and the leftmost light bulb. Similarly, if you press the last button and this light bulb turns on, your brain tries to establish a link between these two. Your brain will be able to establish a causal relationship such as that whenever someone presses a button, you know which light bulb will turn on. These links were easy to establish because the cause have an immediate effect. However, consider another case. When you press this button, this light bulb will turn on but only after 3 days from pressing the button. And when you press this button, this light bulb will turn on only after 2 days from pressing this button, and so on. In this case, it will be much harder for your brain to establish a correct link between these buttons and their corresponding light bulbs, especially when pressing these buttons happens in various intervals. Establishing a causal relationship between related events is important in our life. Our ability to survive and reach our life goals is directly dependent on our ability to predict correctly into the future. Establishing a causal relationship between nearby events is easy for our brain. However, when two related events are far away in time or in space, our brain has much more difficulty to establish a link. All I am trying to say that our ability to see into the future is limited. Just like our agent, we can only see and predict our nearby future. Whenever our goal is distant in the future, it's outside our ability to see and predict. And therefore, if we follow the short leads toward our goal, it's very likely to become trapped at a local maximum at some point. We know that we are trapped at a local maximum whenever we achieve a suboptimal result and can't see any improvement using the simple assessment methods that we have used so far. Let's go back to our simple simulation because it's a nice way to think about the problem and propose a solution. Instead of assessing the results immediately after each step, the agent moves several steps before assessing the results, hoping that the assessment results will be good after several steps. This can also be achieved by making random big jumps instead of random small steps. To simulate that, I have made two agents. The red one moves in small random steps, I call it conservative. The blue one moves in big random steps, I call it liberal. More on these terms later, but let's have a look. It's obvious that our liberal agent is less prone to become trapped on the small hill. The liberal wins. Let's try one more time. Okay, the liberal wins again. So the solution to our problem is to make our agent more liberal so that it can take big steps sometimes. So have we solved the case? Well, that will be true if we live in a world with no consequences to our actions. In reality, we live in a dangerous world that has so many pitfalls and dangerous places that it can lead to death if we fall too low. Let's put some dangerous areas into our simulation and see what happens. If anyone steps into the water area, it will die. Oh, it looks like the liberal agent already stepped into the dangerous area. Let's try again. Our liberal friend has fallen again. So it's true that our liberal agent has more chance to reach the global maximum, but at the same time it has more chance to step into the danger and die. Let's put that warning in our algorithm. As Uncle Ben said, with big jumps comes big risks. Our DNA have solved this problem by making many copies of itself with all the possible variations to ensure its survival. In fact, life in all its variety can be seen as interfaces for the DNA to interact with our environment and survive the external threats. In our simulations, we will not examine across all these dimensions. We will just explore this simple dimension and make many copies of our agent that have various step ranges from being conservative to being liberal. We will also simulate a much more complex environment with many local maxima and dangerous areas, and the goal is to reach the highest point. So let's start our simulation again with a group of liberals and conservatives. Okay, it looks like most of the liberal agents have died, leaving the conservatives who are now all stuck at their local maxima. And why they need to risk their lives and go toward the global maxima if they can live safely forever on there. We will need to tell them life is not that easy. If you don't reach the global maximum, the danger will reach you too. We can increase the danger level by elevating the water levels to instigate this fear in them. As the danger level elevates, polarity should increase too. Some agents would say, oh look, it's becoming too dangerous here, we need to find new paths. And others will say, let's stick to our ground. We would have a better chance if we stick to the constitutions set by our grandparents. Because now most of the surviving agents are conservatives, it will be hopeless if they don't reproduce and give rise to liberal children that can explore and find better local maxima to survive. This means life has to sacrifice many of its copies to reach the global maximum. I just realized that we can relate that to popular stories. Let's say long time ago life was in its perfect golden form at the global maximum, but it just didn't appreciate its form and kept making sins and eating forbidden apples. Therefore, life was deemed unworthy by the higher authority, so as a punishment, life was disintegrated back to its basic DNA form and banished across the galaxy and on Earth. Life has to suffer and earn his way back to the global maximum and its former glory. Either life finds the path and reaches the global maximum in time, or the destructive chaotic forces get life, destroying it, and life vanishes to oblivion forever. Not sure if this is the case, but this looks like a cool story to live by. Let's see what we can do to help life find its way to its previous glory. Let's start at the time where life is a single microorganism and its only superpower is that it can duplicate and make multiple copies of itself. But that depends on the availability of resources. It can also change, but since it doesn't know the best path to change, it changes randomly. The liberal copies of life are capable of changing more and finding new and explored paths. On the other hand, the conservative copies of life are capable of keeping and conserving the good foundations for as long as needed. A conservative can give rise to liberal children, and a liberal can give rise to conservative children. This can happen through mutations or recessive genes, or simply through a change of mind in case of humans. In our simulation, the chance of giving rise to a conservative or a liberal is said to be 50-50, but there may be more optimal ratios depending on the situation. We will keep it simple here. Let's see if the constant sense of danger will push our agents toward the global maximum. I'll gradually increase the flooding. Note that I have started all agents with one color. Whenever a new liberal child is born, the color will be mutated slightly but randomly. The reason for doing so is just to be able to track the changes that would lead to different paths over time. As you can see, as the flood levels rise, more agents die, and resources will become available for the survived ones to reproduce and make more copies. Okay, now we have several local maxima. Oh, some people have already reached that distant local maximum over there. Hopefully they can make it. But how? They are trapped from all directions. So nobody survived. Did I elevate the water levels too quickly? I think I was too harsh. I need to be more benevolent. In our world, threat levels don't always increase. We do have some years full of disasters and calamities, and some happy years where people live in peace and have chance to reproduce, and this can go in cycles. However, threat levels still increases, but gradually. In fact, scientists have already identified more dangerous existential level threats that we might face in the distant future. Also note that internal struggle is always there at all levels. Whenever population levels increases more than the available resources, animals start to fight over the limited resources. Humans are too shy to admit that. Instead, they start to blame each other for not following the proper culture. As they get tired of fighting, peace treaties are signed. Now they can breathe and reproduce again, and the cycle starts again and again. But with each cycle, trickier people survives, and hence the intensity and the complexity of the internal struggle increases over time. This is good as it can prepare us for the increasing intensity and complexity of the external threats too. In fact, external threats can also be seen as a form of internal struggle, but at a different level. I am not going to simulate all these threat level types. Instead, I simply simulate flooding by elevating the water levels gradually, but with resting periods where the water levels decline so that all agents have time to reproduce and breathe. Let's start the simulations again and see what happens. Note that our definition for the term liberal might be different from the political term, as in many countries the term liberal refers to another local maximum. In our case, the term liberal refers to those who are less liable to stick at a local maximum and has more tendencies to explore new paths. Oh, you have a nice thriving culture here. Okay, so now we have several surviving local maxima. These two have the biggest population. It's like two big competing civilizations. They must be arguing now who has a better culture. Well, I think they both have good points, as they have survived for so long. Their conservative members must be thinking by now that their culture is invincible. You have a better culture over there. Oh, let's give them another chance. I think it's time for these two to face their demise. Sorry, but bye. Let's redirect the resource here. Oh, this liberal guy is exploring a new promising path. I'm going to call it hope. Come on, Hope, don't explore too much. Just settle there and reproduce. Make some conservative children so that they stick to their ground. Come on, don't explore anymore. Make a culture on top of that hill. Oh damn it. Hope is dead. This proves that no matter how promising you are, if you don't reproduce, you are gone. Oh look, we have many more promising children. They are exploring on different fronts. I'm hoping they can make me proud. Please find new better local maxima. Okay, now we have these people on this hill. They have survived all the threats so far. Oh great, the new generation already reached a new level. They are now so close to global maxima. I think it's clear they are going to reach the global maximum soon. Should I let this be a happy ending? No, I'm not going to let this be a happy ending. Come on, water, swallow everyone. Come on, water, get over them. Oh no, they beat me to it. They won. I think I should be happy for them. I just noticed those who reached the end are from all colors. I'm so proud of them. They overcome so many struggles. Good job, guys. Now you deserve to live in peace forever. Wait, what's that? This place is not a global maximum. It never was. Oh no, I'm really sad. I didn't want this ending, trust me. But what can I do? I'm just presenting the harsh reality. It looks like the reality is much more complex than what we have expected. We not only have local and global maxima, but we have also subglobal maxima. In another term, we do have a nested level of local and global maxima, and this makes everything much more complex. Our simple algorithm is no longer a valid solution. To reach global maximum in this case, we need much bigger jumps, but even if agents made bigger jumps, it will be too noisy to assess their move. For example, point 1 here is higher than point 2, so according to the assessment, point 1 should be better than point 2. But we know that point 2 is closer to the global maximum, so point 2 is actually a better point. And bear in your mind that here we are dealing with one dimension and only few factors. In real life, we are dealing with many higher dimension and many more factors, so reaching global maximum through mindless big jumps will be pretty hopeless. Basically, this means that path to global maximum requires many more sacrifices and much more time if we rely on DNA's evolutionary approach. In general, DNA-based evolution relies on small incremental mutations, which is like our simulated small steps, and this is very likely to be trapped at a local maximum, as we have seen. Many DNA-based life forms have already reached their peak local maximum. For example, cockroaches are very valuable life assets. They worth 300 million years of survival credits. They have survived most of the existential threats that have faced Earth, even the ones that led to dinosaurs' extinction. Same is true for ants and housefly. Insects are truly invincible. Humans, on the other hand, have only been here for 200,000 years. So as far as DNA concerns, we are a new untested life branch that our value still has to be determined. Well, based on the recent events, a small virus have instigated unspeakable fear inside us, made us run out of toilet papers. And this virus threat is nothing compared to all the existential threat levels that cockroaches have faced throughout the past 300 million years. It's obvious that we are still a very fragile baby. How many more of us have to die just to reach the resilience level of cockroaches? And even if we do, what's the use if we get stuck at the local maxima in the end? Even though insects are invincible to many earthly threats, they may not survive in face of threat levels that are bigger than Earth itself. Life has no choice. It can't rely only on small DNA mutations to reach the global maximum. That's too slow, costly, and will get trapped at the local maxima. On the other hand, big DNA mutations are not possible either, because it's too noisy for DNA to find the correct path toward the global maximum. The only viable current solution is the brain. Humans have big brains, so we humans are not only tasked to be as good as insects, but even better. We need to find a better way to reach the global maximum. Think human, think. Interestingly, brain is also a byproduct of our DNA. DNA throughout years of evolution has put many useful behavioral instincts into our old parts of the brain. These instincts are helpful to speed up the process of reaching the local maximum. Let's see what these instincts are. First, our tendency to collaborate with those who are on a similar path to us. Those who are on a similar path can collaborate with each other, and this will unify their direction and help to reduce the noise, making it possible to reach the top faster. To aid collaboration, all these feeling and behavior types have emerged in us. Second, our tendency to compete with those on a different path from us. Those who are on a different path will compete with each other. This will help to diversify population, helps in finding more local maxima. To aid competition, all these feelings and behavior types have emerged in us. These points are very helpful and can increase the signal-to-noise ratio, speeding up the reach to local maxima. However, they can have bad effects if they are misused. Generally, we don't want this to happen. This is anarchy. Everyone on their own, nobody knows wrong from right. It's too noisy and too fragile in face of big threats. This one is fascism. It's too strict. It can't change. This one is better, as it's diverse, multicultural, but they seem too closed. Probably they don't give freedom of speech to their members, or they are too polite. They don't want to offend each other. This system is the best. Everyone loves their culture and clustered around it. And at the same time, members of each culture are free to explore and move around. This system has the flexibility to reach new heights, and new local maxima emerges in this system all the time. At the same time, this system is resilient enough in face of periodic threats, and it can recover quickly. This system can gradually move onward toward the global maxima, but it's still too slow and costly. Can we do better? Yes, love. Indeed, when two nearby local maxima love each other, they'll share information with each other. Information exchange between two local maxima can happen in two ways. First, sharing genes. This can happen through marriage and making families. Second, sharing ideas. This can happen through talking ideas and making friends. When two local maximum share their genes with each other, their offspring gets the best of both worlds. For example, in this case, group 1 is more central and group 2 is closer to the global maximum, so their offspring, when inherit these two good traits from their parents, they will be both more central and closer to the global maximum. Sharing genes across various local maxima reduces the search space. I mean, instead of exploring all these spaces, you only need to consider the highest point of each local maximum, and when you link between them, it will be much easier to find the path toward the global maximum. Indeed, sharing genetic information can speed up the evolutionary process vastly. Look how far life has evolved when its members started to love each other and shared their genes with each other. It should be noted that children will not always inherit all the good traits. Some children may inherit most of their important traits from one of the parents, and sometimes some unlucky children may inherit all the bad traits from their parents, like this one. But that's okay, as these ones will be taken care of by the next upcoming threat level. Wait, that's not okay. Why the hell I said that? Please don't judge me. I'm just presenting the harsh reality, not causing it. Okay, now I feel guilty. Well done, buddy. You get there by your own merit. Indeed, prayer is a hard work too. Well, in your world, yes. In my world, I can't count on it. I need to find more predictable ways. Thanks, buddy. Take care. Let's move on. Do you remember the liberal guy who found a promising land but didn't reproduce, and his life was wasted? Well, his life was not totally wasted because he shared valuable information about what he found with other people on the other local maxima. So yeah, sharing your ideas and talking about it with others is as powerful as sharing your genes. Look how far humans have come just because they talk to each other more than any other animals. Let's write that in our guide too. Human brain can remember and learn. This is very important because as you explore in the darkness, your past will be enlightened as you remember them. And when you learn about other people's experience and their viewpoint, in essence you are enlightening and expanding your vision. So yes, always be curious and try to learn new things. Now, because of our memory and age limit, we can't learn everything in our lifespan. So here comes the next powerful life's tool, intelligence. Intelligence is a new emergent life phenomenon that only exists in higher life forms. Intelligence helps humans to interpolate and extrapolate across their memories, enabling them to generalize their learned experience to new situations. How our brains are capable of doing that efficiently is still under the research. We at Brain XYZ are currently researching this and trying to understand it. We also are trying to build tools that helps us to simulate the same brain process. We think that the way our brain interpolate across the data is by forming new links between memories. The way it forms these links are similar to how genes are shared. That's why when you link between pieces of information, you have a wow feeling similar to having a braingasm, because in essence you are marrying between various information when you are forming links among them. Once you form these links, new information emerges, and this expands your vision. Some intelligent people are truly visionary. They can extrapolate beyond their senses. This enables them to make big risk-free jumps. This ability is a new superpower that recently emerged in life. This is also the reason why we like creative arts, because it tests our mind's ability to interpolate and extrapolate across various patterns. It also trains us to generalize our old knowledge to new concepts. Science is a byproduct of human intelligence. It's a set of tools and methodologies that formalizes how we apply our intelligence in a less biased way. It also enhances our ability to interpolate and extrapolate across large data sets. So powered by science and intelligence, humans can make unprecedented huge leaps with minimal risks. It's true that cockroaches are on a better local maximum, but humans are on a better path toward the global maximum. Earth is the biggest local maximum that life has been stuck on forever. Are we humans the life form who can finally reach the universal global maximum and make life great again? This is not an ideal worldview, but it's a sensible path to a possible one. Let us know if you know any more points. Thanks a lot for watching.